We opened the conference by talking about retiring companies and outdated investment ideas. But in a digital age where we all have to reinvent ourselves, can the companies we invest in really hope to live forever? In this very studio, Freddie Mercury famously asked, who wants to live forever? And if the economies of the Western world really want to continue living as they have been, they need to reinvent themselves.
The US is reinventing itself on a daily basis. The biggest shift that we've seen lately is the rejuvenation of the energy sector. We're up 60% in domestic oil production. We're up sharply in domestic gas production, and these really are laying the base for a revitalization of the US manufacturing sector. So in the next 4 or 5 years, the US will be the cheapest source of manufacturing in the world, probably. A decade ago, China was 14% cheaper than US in terms of cost competitiveness. Today, it's about 5%, and the US is gaining about 1% a year. So we believe that by about 2018, the US will be at cost parity with China in terms of industrial cost competitiveness.
America has the tools to make economies go faster, and in fact they're probably already applied, and it's only that we haven't still yet the results because the weather, but we probably would have very positive surprises in the next quarter.
Asset allocation is all about getting the right balance, the right mix of treble and base. Just like for successful companies, getting the right mix of global and local is crucial.
I call it the global divide. My job is to go around the world and speak, right? So I spoke in 26 countries last year. So I see how there are some companies that are seeing this trend now and just going for it. And then there are some companies that are just not ready for it yet. There's a lot of business that is local, but there's now some business that is not. So the saying shouldn't say all business is local. The saying should say all business is local except the business that is global. We are stuck in the national identity myth. If you work for Samsung, you do it the Korean way, because Koreans hire Koreans. If you're a country manager of Samsung, you have to be a Korean. If you're a CEO, you have to be a Korean. So Samsung is hiring the best Korean they can find. But a truly global company hires the best person they can find. Who would you invest in, logically, in the long run? And the companies and the people who realize this will take advantage of it on almost the same level as the people who saw the internet in 94, 95, 96.
If you can take Samsung was a good example, where he basically said that's a company you shouldn't really be focusing on. I thought that was very interesting. And I think companies have to get away from that nationalistic mindset. How they can do it, I don't know. I think it's very difficult in a lot of emerging markets. Some emerging market companies are maybe thinking already that way, but I think they're still wedded very much to that.
Not quite the same as living forever, but another sci-fi fantasy is the time machine. As Silicon Valley threatens to turn our lives into an asset class, Frederick Kaplan is trying to see the future by cataloguing the past.
We may see something like the arrival of a global time machine, which will allow us to navigate into possible past at a worldwide level. Google has given the idea that the future was really about mining the big data of the present, but in many cases, maybe the solution for understanding where the company will be in the coming years will be found in its history.
Okay, so we may not be able to live forever, but we will be back next year. We've had a great time. We hope you have too.